Hey, what's up, I'm Zoe, and tonight we are going to be doing a little bit of reading. It is 11:30 p.m. I thought we would get a move on this beautiful little book right here, which is called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Oh my gosh. I'm like halfway through and I am obsessed. I feel like I need to order the second book so that I know I have it and I can get to it when I get to it. The tabs that I did for this book, literally obsessed. My favorite thing, of course I have to show you because hello. I think it matches so well, actually. I should just make this my thing. For those of you who maybe need a little refresher or are just here to get spoilers, pretty unpopular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend, Sal Singh, who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about, and 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy still haunts her town. Now a senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project. At first, just to cast doubt on the original investigation. But soon she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Sal innocent. And the line between past and present begins to blur. Someone in Fairview doesn't want Pip digging around for answers, and now her own life might be in danger. Oh my god. Obviously this vlog is going to be filled with spoilers, as most of my singular reading vlogs are, so you have been warned. I'm kind of shocked that this was for a paper because the energy that she gives off is very much like, I want to solve this, not I just want to do a little bit of research. She's very invested right from the beginning, going right to the direct sources that she has for answers on what happened 5 years prior. I think that's something that I like the most about this book. There isn't much like outside anything. Majority of it so far has very much been related to the topic at hand. Is Sal guilty? What was Andy's backstory and her connection and everything like that? And like we aren't getting so many things about like Pippa's personal life or her romances or anything like that, which I feel like some authors who I have read that have done like similar YA mysteries like this, sometimes they like will start to lean towards one thing or the other. I mean, of course that could happen in the last part of this, I don't know. So one of the main things that we are discovering as we continue through the story is that Andy was not exactly this ball of sunshine. She actually was often described as a bully. The list of suspects should have definitely been expanded beyond the boyfriend. Even though continue to go on, we do see why Sal's seen as a prime suspect. One of the things that I'm personally really curious about, it seems like Andy was just kind of using Sal as like a cover boyfriend. But I'm still very curious as to what their relationship was actually like the two of them. What did they talk about? And they had only been dating for like 4 months. I just keep wondering like what is it about Sal that made Andy say, him, I'm gonna get with him. Outside of like school life and friendships, we're also discovering that Andy did not have the best home life. So her relationship with her father is very strained because of the dynamic that her father kind of encouraged in their house. There's a lot of motive of what could have happened to Andy. At this point, I have to be team I don't think Sal did it. I don't think he did it. It has been suggested in here that he didn't actually commit suicide. He was murdered. The list that they have is the same as mine of suspects and things like that. I feel like Andy is just a very complex person, and I feel like you have to talk to as many people that knew her as possible, because each person is going to be able to tell you different little tidbits of information that are going to slowly piece together a story. But I think the one common thread is that she just was not the nicest person. There were just a lot of people who could have done it. And right now, I don't feel like I'm leaning towards anyone really strongly, except for maybe her father. But I don't know. Did think that Naomi might have more to do with it than she has let on to this point. List of persons of interest as of when I'm reading this. Jason Bell, which is her father, Naomi Ward, secret older guy, the boyfriend, Natalie De Silva, Daniel De Silva, which is her brother, but he's also on the police force, Max Hastings, who was Sal's best friend, but also seemed to have connections to Andy through her being a dealer, which was one of her secrets. And then Howie Bowers, who was her dealer. Oh my god, how did I totally forget about the fact that someone in town is threatening Pippa. I feel like the person who is sending her notes, the first note that she got was during her friend Kara's birthday event. She wanted to go camping, and someone left a note in her specific sleeping bag telling her to stop digging up the past or stop investigating. I don't know if I tabbed that one. I probably did. And then she got a text message most recently, and it said, "You stupid bitch, leave this alone while you still can." The only person it could possibly be is Naomi, or it's Kara. It's one of them. Like, even Ravi, who is Sal's younger brother. Oh, I forgot to talk about Ravi. Ravi is helping Pippa with the whole paper investigation because she went to him and asked him to interview him. Like I said, she did not waste time. He even thought that she was in love with him. So I'm thinking that Kara also has plenty of opportunity to have left the note in her sleeping bag, and that would make so much sense. But the fact that there was like a figure, a person in the woods who was watching them, that also makes me think that maybe Naomi was there. And maybe Kara put the note in the sleeping bag while Naomi distracted everyone. But how would she have known that she would have had that opportunity and Pippa would have... Well, I guess she probably would have known that Pippa would have left eventually or moved, and she could have slipped something in the sleeping bag. Like, I feel like the author starting off with such a specific trip with the first sign of someone threatening her to stop the investigation or what she's doing. That's so isolated. So it doesn't leave you a lot of options of who could have possibly done it. Of course, she sums it up to maybe being a prank by her friends, which it could have been, but the fact that now we have a text message, I'm like, who else would know her number? More likely that it could be Naomi or Kara, because they have her number, you know? She's like family.
Don't know how it's 5 a.m. again. One too many episodes of Friends. Stupid boys got me rereading texts. Though it makes me sick, I can't seem to quit the adrenaline. Wasting my youth in pressing the snooze when the sun's still in view. Then why do I do this? I'm being stupid, testing my limits now. Don't feel alive when I'm awake. Not sure if I'm okay. Been feeling like my body's about to break. Too melatonin deep, still can't put me to sleep. I'm laying here forever, counting sheep. 5, 6, 7, 8.
So they went to this hotel that Andy went to, another secret, and they're assuming this is where she went to see the older guy, whoever he was, the guy that she could ruin his life, obviously, because she's a minor and he's an older guy. They talked to this lady she's like a grandmother now, she has Alzheimer's, and they ask her like, oh, have you seen this girl? And they show her a picture of Andy, and she's like, yes, I've seen her, she's been here recently. And she starts to get upset that they are like, no, she died like years ago. I don't think grandma's going crazy. I think grandma might be onto something. But the fact that they never found her body, even after all these years, she could be still alive. It could happen. I mean, I don't know. There's still so many questions. I feel like I don't know enough to say that definitively if I think she's alive or not.
Losing common sense. I've heard talks from Ted warning me of death. Nothing sinking in. Don't feel alive when I'm awake. Not sure if I'm okay. Been feeling like my body's about to break. Too melatonin deep, still can't put me to sleep. I'm laying here forever, count sheep. I'm counting sheep, replacing memories that wish I could redesign. Bullets they keep eyes company as I fall asleep at night.
Chapter good at 28. I know I haven't gotten that far because I keep screaming about this. I'm absolutely disgusted. So obviously I'm at chapter 28. We just found out that Sal's friends, who I don't think I went into this before, but they Sal told the police that he had an alibi. He left his friend's house at like 12:15 and then got home at like 12:50 because his curfew was like 1 a.m. His friends went to the cops. They like said like, yeah, that's what happened. And then a few days later they went to the cops and told them they lied and that Sal really left at like 10:30 and they just wanted to be honest. Turns out that that was a lie. That was a lie. They changed their story and took away his alibi. For what? I don't know. We're about to find out. But I just had to come in here and say I'm disgusted by the whole fact that that happened. Like, what? Like, this better be a really good reason. Because what do you mean you set your friend up like that? Are you kidding me? I need a real good reason not to kick somebody's ass. And Pippa found this out from looking at some pictures that were uploaded on Facebook on the Monday after. I'm pretty sure she went missing on Saturday and these pictures were uploaded on Monday all at the same time, selective pictures, and Pippa realized that there was a picture that had all four of them, but who was taking the picture, and it ended up being Sal. She saw it in a reflection, she saw the time and everything like that. So that's catching you up on everything that we know. And there's no way Sal would have had time to, you know, Andy. So we're about to see. We're about to see. this? I know what you did last summer. What it was that someone made them post the pictures, right? And this person knew something bad that they did, and the bad thing they did was go to a party and they were all drunk. Max was driving and he hit someone. He hit someone because he lost control of the car, and they thought he was dead. He wasn't, but they decided to drive away anyways. And they just like went back to Max's house. They wiped off the car. Then the man is now in a wheelchair because of them, but someone found out. They all swore they were never gonna say. Sal was not with them. It was just the other four. Who is this? Max, Naomi, Millie, and Jake. They swore they would never tell anyone, but someone found out and pretty much held that over their heads as blackmail for them to change their story. That's actually something of guilt. But Sal had to feel that feeling, even though he did nothing. There is no way he could have done that. And his family has had to live with. She's not going to go to the police because she doesn't want to ruin Naomi's life, which I think is the wrong decision, because it's like, fuck that bitch. I knew Sal didn't do it. I felt it in here. I just was like, this isn't adding up. This cannot be. But yet it is. That's what happened. They were also blackmailed by an anonymous person. And I think this anonymous person is the same person who's probably texting Pippa. And what is the thing that Sal was so mad at her about that he can't talk about? Was that the drug thing? He was angry about something that she'd done and he wouldn't say. He told me she was a different person when it was just the two of them, but he could no longer ignore the way that she treated other people. He decided that night he was going to end things with her, and he seemed almost relieved when he came to that decision. Okay, Sal seems like a sweet guy. He seems like a guy who had a lot of future ahead of him. He seems to be a good friend. Someone killed him and has set it up to make it look like he did it himself. I am even more sick that no one went forward. Pippa saying that she's not going to go to the cops about it. Just how is she going to explain that to Ravi? I guess this takes away my idea that maybe it's Kara or Clara. Is it Clara? Probably Kara. Kara and Naomi. It's probably. But that leaves me wondering who the hell knew they were going to be in that forest camping. You know, I'm sitting here and thinking more about like how Naomi and Kara reacted, but that reminds me, their dad was a suspect because he's a teacher at the school. He literally knows so much about everyone. I think I dare say maybe he got taken off the list too soon because he knows that she's doing the paper. He knows where she lives. Who else would have known they were in the woods? Kara, Naomi, their dad. I don't know. I don't have any ideas right now beyond that. So I'm just going to keep reading part 3. Let's go. I was almost done, so I decided to keep going, and it is now 2:43. I finished roughly around like 2:20, 2:30, somewhere in that area, and I had to reread some certain parts at the end again. Oh my god, I loved this. I loved it so much. It's literally right up my alley. It's everything I want, love, need in a story. You're already here, you know it's spoilers. I'll just tell you what happened. It ended up being Mr. Ward. He was having secret relations with Andy, and they had sex twice at that hotel. That night, that everything went down, Andy went to his house and they argued and he pushed her, she hit her head, but she did leave very much alive from his house. But from there, when he found out that she was missing, he knew he had to protect himself and his daughters. He's like, I'm the only parent they have left. So he set up the whole lie, made sure that Naomi was safe and covered up for the hit and run thing, which he found out because he read her diary or something like that. And oh my gosh, he killed Sal. Sal trusted him, okay? That's his teacher. That is the man who helped him prepare to get into Yale. So that's what happened on that end. There's of course a lot of intricacies, but we aren't going to get into that because it's like you may as well read the book to get all of the details, right? Right, you understand. What happened to Andy? It was her sister. It was her fucking sister, which I totally get it. Like I said, her dad made such a toxic environment between them. They did not have a great relationship. And I also think I mentioned at one point, pretty sure, hopefully I did, that Andy was selling drugs and at these calamity parties, and Sal's best friend, Max, he was buying a roofie from Andy and drugging various girls at these parties. He ended up doing that to Becca, which is Andy's younger sister. And when she figured out what happened, she told Andy, and it happened to be that very night after she came back from being at Mr. Ward's house, where she hit her head, but Becca didn't know. She told her sister, and she did not care because, like I said, Andy was a bitch. She was a bully. She was not a nice girl. She pushed Andy. She hit her head again, and then she started throwing up and choked on her own vomit, and Becca just did not help her. She let her go. And then somehow, some way, she drove her to this farmhouse, put her in a, what did she put her in? Like, wait, hang on. A septic tank. Let me just mark that. She never said anything. She was never gonna get caught. She found out that Pippa was doing this and just had to make sure. Wow. It makes sense that it was Becca. I did think it for a second, but it's just that we never went back to her enough for me to really get any clues on that. But it makes so much sense in the fact that it was two different people. I did think her dad would have more to do with it than I thought. Like, maybe he came and helped Becca. Like, that's what I kind of expected as I continue to read. But no, that's not what happened. Apparently her dad is just toxic as fuck. The question I'm still left with, that I brought up earlier, is why Sal? Sal was just so innocent in this. He really was. If he wasn't with Andy, he would be alive. Why was Sal her public boyfriend? We're dating for like 4 months. Why did it go on so long? Like, I mean, I guess I could get it if maybe they met at a party, they made out. It was just kind of like, okay, I'm bored a little bit. But for 4 months? And even in her planner, there was a part and she said like, oh, buy a Christmas gift for Sal. And I'm like, that's so girlfriend of you. But like, I would, like, at the same time, I just wouldn't think she would care. I know there's probably never an answer that's going to be given because that's not what the point of this is supposed to be. You're not supposed to fixate on that. And then I thought maybe he was like a cover for her parents, so like they would think that she's dating a nice boy. But then I remember them saying she never even brought him over to her house. When she went to Mr. Ward's house, when she hit her head that night, and she said to him, like, the only reason that she even started talking to him was because she wanted him to help her get into Yale like he did Sal. He can't leave without her. Even if she's just like saying stuff, like, I don't get, like, why would she want to go where Sal was going? Did she really think they would continue dating into college and she wanted to go where he was going? I wish that there was just one chapter that could have shown us Andy's point of view. And, you know, like, she's this horrible girl, and I'm just like, I feel like she would just not have a boyfriend at all. You know, I feel like she would just be one of those types and just be like, I have an older boyfriend, he's so cool. And it seems like no one can really understand why they were together, even for as long as they were. This book was so good. I honestly feel like it's a 5-star read. I loved everything. It was a rush. It was very to the point. Oh my god, I loved it. Oh my god, it was so good. Thank you for joining me on this late night reading vlog, reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This has been so fun, but now I desperately need to go to sleep. And I will definitely see you in the next reading vlog, so give this a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on alerts, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!
Only lavender dreams, baby. What can I do when I'm